There is a photograph from 1997 Las Vegas. The Hot Rod Hall of Fame induction ceremony at the 50th anniversary of Peterson Publishing. Two men, side by side. One is 53 years old. A legend, the king of the American hot rod, the man who put billet wheels on 1,000 magazine covers. The other is 31, the youngest inductee in that Hall of Fame's history. The older man's name is Boyd Coddington. The younger man's name is Chip Foose. In the photograph, they are smiling. They look like family. The press will call them mentor and protege, master and apprentice. The past and the future of American car culture, standing shoulder to shoulder on the same stage on the same night. 6 weeks later, Chip Foose will be named managing director of Boyd's company. 9 weeks after that, the company will collapse into one of the most public, most humiliating bankruptcies in the history of the American specialty automotive industry. $15 million in debt. Lawsuits, liquidation, a shop full of people who suddenly have nowhere to go. And the two men in that photograph will never speak to each other again. This is not really a story about cars. This is a story about what happens when a father figure cannot forgive a son for growing up. To understand the war, you have to understand the throne. In 1968, a young machinist from Rupert, Idaho moved to Southern California with a dream that, in 1968, was already considered a dying art form. The hot rod was a relic. The kids of the 70s wanted muscle cars off the showroom floor. Nobody was supposed to be hand-building 1932 Fords anymore. Boyd Coddington didn't get the memo. He worked nights as a machinist at Disneyland, actually at Disneyland, machining parts for the rides while the park slept, and he built cars in his garage in the daylight hours. Every dollar he made at the Magic Kingdom, he poured into metal and chrome and obsession. In 1977, he opened a shop in Stanton, California, and called it Hot Rods by Boyd. What he did next changed an entire industry. He took the hot rod, which had always been a greasy, junkyard, rebellious thing, and he made it elegant. He smoothed the lines. He hid the hardware. He invented an aesthetic that came to be known simply as the Boyd look: clean, premium, expensive. His cars started winning the Grand National Roadster Show's most prestigious trophy, the AMBR, America's Most Beautiful Roadster. Not once, not twice, but 7 times. A record that has never been broken. And then he did the other thing. The thing that built the empire. He invented the billet aluminum wheel. It sounds small. It is not small. Before Boyd Coddington, custom wheels were cast metal, heavy, crude, limited. Boyd took a solid block of aluminum and machined a wheel out of it on a lathe. He patented the designs. He sold them for $2,000 a piece in the 1980s, a price that at the time sounded insane. People paid it. By the late 80s, Boyd Coddington wasn't just a car builder. He was a brand, a logo, a name on the side of every aspirational hot rod in America. And in 1995, he did the thing that would eventually destroy him. He took the company public. While Boyd Coddington was conquering the industry, for hours up the coast in Santa Barbara, a boy was learning to draw cars in his father's garage. Chip Foose started working in his dad's shop, project design, at the age of 7. Sanding fenders, mixing paint. He would later say he wasted gallons of paint just mixing colors because he loved the way they swirled together. By the time he was a teenager, he could draw a car from any angle in seconds without lifting the pencil from the page. In 1982, he enrolled at the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, the most prestigious automotive design school in the world, the school that produced the designers behind BMWs, Cadillacs, Porsches. He had to drop out. His family couldn't afford the tuition. So he went to work for 4 years at a coach building company, saved every dollar, and went back. He graduated in 1990. And here is where the fates of two men begin to braid together. Foose graduated with the kind of resume that opens any door in Detroit. Ford wanted him. J. Mays, the legendary designer who would soon reimagine the Volkswagen Beetle, wanted him personally. Foose had offers from the Big Three. He was going to be a corporate car designer, drawing the future of American transportation in a glass tower somewhere in Michigan. But he had a side project. He was doing some sketches for a guy down in Stanton named Boyd Coddington. And the way Chip Foose tells it, years later, he was doing that work for free. For 2.5 years, he never sent Boyd a single invoice. It was his hobby, his escape, drawing hot rods for the king of hot rods. When Foose finally told Boyd he was leaving to take the Ford job, Boyd made him an offer that by Foose's own admission beat both Ford and Volkswagen combined. Chip Foose stayed. And in that moment, the mentor and the protege became something else. They became business partners. And business partners, eventually, become competitors. For a few years in the mid-90s, the partnership between Boyd Coddington and Chip Foose was by any honest measure the single most creative force in the American custom car industry. Boyd had the empire, the wheels, the brand, the 7AMBR trophies, the shop, the name on the building. But Chip had the pencil. And the cars that came out of that shop during those years, the Boydster, the Smoothster, were not just cars. They were sculptures. They defined the silhouette of the modern hot rod for an entire generation. Here is the quiet thing that, in retrospect, was the seed of everything that came after. The cars said Boyd on them. Chip Foose was the designer. Chip Foose was increasingly the engine of the creative output. But the cars wore Boyd's name. The trophies went to Boyd's mantle. The magazine covers said Hot Rods by Boyd. And inside the industry, the people who actually built the cars knew. They all knew who was drawing them. Chip Foose rose through the company, designer, then lead designer, then vice president, then president. He was 31 years old, running the most famous custom car shop in the United States. And on that November evening in Las Vegas, he stood next to the man who had given him his start, and they were inducted together. It should have been the beginning of a dynasty. It was, in fact, the last good moment. In 1997, Boyd Coddington's company was already dying. When Boyd's Wheels Incorporated went public on the NASDAQ in 1995, the stock soared and the factory expanded. They moved into a massive manufacturing facility designed to flood the market with billet wheels. For a moment, it looked like Boyd had pulled off the impossible, turning a niche, hand-built American art form into a publicly traded mass-market business. Then the wheels came off. The specialty automotive market fell into a slump. Sales dropped sharply, and the company posted substantial losses. The expansion that was supposed to make them dominant had loaded the company with debt. The board, the public investors who now owned a piece of Boyd's name, looked at the founder and made a decision. In August of 1997, Boyd Coddington was removed as president and CEO of the company he had founded. In the polite language of the press releases, he was stepping down. In reality, he had been forced out of his own shop by his own board. 3 months later, Chip Foose was promoted to managing director. The protege was now in charge of trying to save the founder's life's work. It did not work. On January 30th, 1998, Boyd's Wheels Incorporated filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, carrying $15 million in debt. By June, substantially all of the company's assets had been liquidated in federal bankruptcy court. And across the industry, the small suppliers, the paint vendors, the chrome platers, the fabrication shops, discovered that the company they had trusted owed them millions of dollars they were never going to see. In the summer of 1998, Chip Foose did something that on its face looked simple and was in fact the spark that would burn for the next decade. He left. He didn't take the company. He didn't take the brand. He took his wife Lynn and $700 in their bank account, with a $1,500 mortgage payment due at the end of the month. And he started a new company called Foose Design. In Chip's own telling, he was the last one out of the burning building. He made sure every employee had a new job lined up. He made sure the customer cars still in the shop were transferred to other builders to be finished. He stayed until the lights were turned off. Then he walked out with nothing. Boyd Coddington never forgave him for it. The consensus pieced together from years of interviews and shop floor whispers runs roughly like this. Boyd believed that Foose had used the bankruptcy as an exit ramp. That Foose had spent 8 years building a reputation under the Coddington name, drawing the cars, winning the awards, getting the magazine covers, and then walked out the moment the brand became a liability, taking the talent with him. Because that's the other thing that happened. The bankruptcy didn't just liquidate the inventory. It scattered the staff. And one by one, the most talented people at Hot Rods by Boyd ended up working for Chip Foose. The painter, The fabricator, the metal artist, the men who had built Boyd's cars now built Chip's cars. Every time another one of them made that drive from Stanton down the freeway to Huntington Beach, Boyd Coddington felt it as a personal betrayal. In 2004, the Discovery Channel gave Boyd his own television show, American Hot Rod. That same year, Chip Foose premiered Overhaulin' on a different network. The contrast could not have been more precise. On Boyd's show, impossible deadlines, screaming, firings, a shop in constant crisis. On Chip's show, warmth, generosity, a soft-spoken man who would stand in front of a sketch pad and draw an entire custom build in 2 minutes flat. A piece of theater so quietly beautiful it made you forget you were watching television. You could not have written a more brutal comparison. The most famous incident from those years aired on American Hot Rod during the build of a 1942 Woody. Boyd's body shop supervisor, Charlie Hutton, a man who had been with him for years, the heart of the technical operation, walked into Boyd's office and told him he was leaving to go work for Chip Foose. The cameras were rolling. The confrontation that followed became, in the world of car television, a kind of folk artifact. In 2006, Chip Foose gave one interview in which he said something that, in its quiet way, is the most damaging sentence in this entire story. Boyd has chosen to not have any relations with me since I stopped working at his shop. That is the entire posture in 23 words. Foose is not angry. Foose is not bitter. Foose is sad, slightly puzzled, and entirely willing to reconcile. The wall has been built by Boyd. The wall stays up because Boyd wants it up. The protege has moved on. The master cannot. Boyd Coddington died on February 27, 2008, at the age of 63, a long-time diabetic, worn down by years of brutal production schedules and the lingering weight of the bankruptcy. He never called, never wrote, never tried to mend it. The hot rod world held its breath, waiting to see what Chip Foose would do. He owed Coddington nothing. He had been frozen out for a decade, branded a traitor on national television, refused acknowledgement for years. He went to the funeral anyway. He said only kind things, giving Coddington in death the dignity he had been denied in life. Then he went home and kept building cars. Boyd's last shop closed 4 months after the funeral. So what was it in the end? Not money. Not the bankruptcy. It was a fact Boyd Coddington could never say aloud. Somewhere in the mid-90s, the protege had become better than the master. Quieter, more likable, more naturally a star. Every time Chip Foose put pencil to paper, the proof was there for the entire industry to see. The mentor could not survive the success of the student. It is the oldest story in creative work, from Salieri and Mozart onward. Not about cars. About pride. The kind that builds an empire, and then curdles when someone younger does what you do, but better.